What is going on, everybody? It is Nidge here from Nidge Plays, and welcome to episode 6 of our Real Betis Career Mode save. And this is to be the toughest episode so far. We have Athletic Bilbao away from home, first game of the season, but I don't know if you guys out there play a lot of career mode, but I always tend to find that every now and then you'll sit down to play a few games on it, and it's just hard. Like, no matter what you do, you just struggle to score. The opposition seemed to be playing you off the park, and that was to be the case in most of the games of this episode. Actually, it was a real struggle. The first one, like I said, against Athletic Bilbao, and as you'll see from the team, we didn't really change too much because we'd had the 5-0 win against Derry City and the 2-1 win. I can't remember who the 2-1 win was against, but we had picked up a couple of wins on the bounce and wanted to try and carry that momentum through. But during the course of this episode, and there's 4 games in this episode, we do a lot of tinkering with the team and the formation to try and improve it. But you'll see here, only 2 minutes in, and they hit the post there, and another chance here straight after. They really were taking the game to me, and it was like no matter what I did, I just couldn't get on top. And yeah, like I said, it was just one of those sessions where I couldn't touch them. And here you see the 45th minute, lobbed over to the far post, and it is nodded in. It was Aduriz, I think it was, for Athletic Bilbao, was causing me problem after problem after problem. I just couldn't handle him in the air. He was really giving us a good game and struggling to cope with him. One interesting thing that I do recall from this game was that they were saying that Muniain was before I talk about that, this is the first of many injuries in this episode as well, which is another thing that made this a tougher session than it needed to be. Jonathan Dos Santos, unfortunately, the first victim there in this game, just on the stroke of half time as well. So yeah, there's a few of them to come, as you'll see through the episode. I think we actually get 2 injuries in this one game alone. But anyway, as I was going to say, Muniain is apparently unsettled at Athletic Bilbao, and he's a player that I rate really highly on this game. I think he's a very weavy little winger. Whenever I've used him, he's very useful. So potentially in January, if we do sell anybody or end up messing around with anything at all, he might be a potential player we can look at. I'm going to get him skated out. And as I was talking about, here is the second injury, and 2 key players as well. Firstly, Jonathan Dos Santos, obviously, a new signing. Then the second one here was Paulo. Probably been our best centre-back so far this season, so you'll see where he goes down and just gets trodden on, I think. But yeah, not great to lose 2 of the key players there in one fair swoop and get away with this here clearing off the line. But oh, here we go. We knew that it was going to happen at some point, and on he comes. Benyat, the man that was once so loved by the fans of Real Betis, brought on against us for his free kick prowess, and straight away, yes, get it out, lads. Don't let Benyat hurt us in this game. That's all I was thinking. And actually, after all the domination, we do manage to get a goal there. I think you saw at half time we hadn't actually had a shot at in the first half, but we did pick the game up a lot in the second half, and probably based on the second half, we got a deserved goal. But on the, you'll see in the stats in the end of the game, I think they had twice as many shots than us. But yeah, we do get the goal there to make it 1-1, and Benyat here with a chance. Ooh, I really thought he was going to score against us. First of all, I thought I was going to give away a silly free kick, and perhaps that'd be the downfall. But then I had that shot, and he looked like he was in the mood. But he does finish 1-1 in that game, and we were really lucky to get the point, like I said. But that's a good thing that we were grinding out these results. And sometimes when you're being battered and your back's against the wall, if you can get a point, it can be really good, just to keep the momentum going. And all these points that you grind out can add up along the course of the season. You'll see we have dropped down to 8th at this point, but Dos Santos and Paulo both out for 4 weeks as well, so we have to make a few changes in the team. As you see, Reyes has come in there into the midfield. He was one of the elaborated players that we've had to put in there. I think I mentioned before the season started, that was the reason we bought Dos Santos, because he really was quite the weak link. But it does actually open the door for a player to come on to mention. That player is Matilla. I'm assuming it's Matilla because he's Spanish, but yeah, he's young. I think he's 21, and he did a decent job. He came off the bench at some point, and he looks like perhaps he could be a half-decent player from off the bench, maybe for us during the season. We'll have to see. Someone that I'd not even really considered before, but yeah. And again here, this game is in the Europa League, and it starts off with an absolute onslaught. I'm not quite sure how we survived that there, and just clearing it eye just about, and get to half-time, and lucky to be 0-0. Sorry, I said Europa League. This isn't Europa League at all. This is the Villarreal game. Europa League's the next game. I apologise, but yeah, again, this is one of those games where at home I really wanted to try and win this one, and we played well in this one. I can't moan too much about, them playing us off the park, anything like that. We just couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. No matter what we did, it just wasn't happening. It was one of those games that there wasn't many chances, and it does actually finish nil-nil. You'll see there on the stats, there weren't many shots from either team, and it was a bit of a drab 0-0, but one that we dominated possession of, but we just couldn't pick our way through the defence. And again, I was looking for players perhaps in January, and Giovanni dos Santos was one that stood out as a good player that we might be able to bring in, because strikers are an area that we're struggling. You'll see we do swap the strikers around quite a lot in this episode. Like I said, we tried Castro up front, Origi, we obviously bought in Leo Baptiste, we just trying to do a bit of a mixture. And this is the Europa League, and this is the game that starts off very badly. You'll see on the replay, it was my bad. Sometimes when the ball's just bobbling around the box you're wanting to clear, I pressed A, should have pressed B, and I just put it on a plate basically. Really, really bad error, but we do manage to come back fairly quickly here. A bit of luck here for Video on the wing, I think it's Video, yeah. It gets the cross in and nodded home, and that was 1-1. But like I say, this was a very tough session, and that wasn't to be the end of the story in this game. It goes to half time 1-1, and as you can see, it was a pretty tight game. And Zurich aren't the kind of team that should be causing us problems. We came out in the second half though, started really well and went 2-1 up. This was a really good pass through to Origi, and he managed to just bang it in at the near post. But like I say, I was looking at a few players we could perhaps bring in January. Giovanni dos Santos was one, Muniain was one. There was another one that Villarreal had as well that I can't remember who it was now that I was perhaps eyeing up. I might show you all that after, perhaps just before January. I'll show you the shortlist that I got built up, and we can have a look. And after we've gone 2-1 up, probably should have scored there. Defence completely going to sleep, but it doesn't matter because I'll get done here. Not even by any skill, it's just a thing on FIFA where it's always been a thing since FIFA began, or as long as I can remember playing FIFA. You don't see it very often when you're playing against another person, but you do see it every now and then against the computer. Well, at least more often against the computer. We hit the post here, very unlucky. But when someone stops, literally just stands still. Oh, hang on, look at this. Should be a winner. All for me, Cedric, after he poached in there. But anyway, when the computer or anybody just stands still with the ball, it is very difficult to get the ball off. You end up running around them in circles or whatever. But that's actually what the computer did there. He just stood still on the spot. I ran past him and he was through and gone and just hit it. So that was a bit annoying. But again, here we have another tinker, and I thought I'd show you this one because this is all we end up sticking with now. Just go for the standard 4-1-2-1-2. I thought we've got pacey wingers in Video and Cedric, young, decent potential. We might as well try them out. And it was a game against Elche, and these are a team that are right. I know they're just below us in the league. We've slipped down to 10th at this point. They're just below us in the league, but these really are a pretty low down team in Liga BBVA. They're probably, I'd say, the worst team in the league. And I thought after we'd drawn these matches that we'd had, because they were all draws, that if you hadn't noticed the pattern there, we were struggling, but we managed to grind out the draws. I thought, if this isn't a team we can't turn it around against, I don't know what is. But we actually go 1-0 down very early on as well. It's Carlos Sanchez, a player that has actually had a decent World Cup over the last few weeks. He's done really well for Mexico, and I think it's Mexico, perhaps Colombia, I can't remember, Mexico or Colombia, but he's had a decent World Cup, and they'd actually signed him on this start of the season. But then Cedric goes big for us, runs all the way across the defence, then hammers that in. Really good guy. You'll see in the replay here again, he was going across. I was actually looking to perhaps play a through ball and play somebody in, but he just kept going, and then a gap appeared and he just darted into it and just hammered it into the top corner of the near post, very much like on FIFA 13 that was. You'll see on the finish here, remember that, just hammer it in at the near post and the keeper's got no chance. It was such a powerful shot. But after the golden chance he missed in the last game that could have won us the match, glad to see that it came back with a goal there. But that was 1-1, and that was a relief because you see we're going to half time, and we were playing quite well, and we just couldn't break through their defence. But straight away off half time here, get 2-1 up, and that was even more of a relief at that point. I was thinking, thank God we're actually going to get a win for this episode, because at this point when I was playing it, I knew that this was going to be the last match of this particular episode, and I was thinking, God, is there going to be an episode where we don't get a win, which wouldn't have been very good. But nevertheless, we do get 2-1 up there, and that opens the floodgates up. You remember we won 5-0 against Derry in the Europa League, and we go pretty close to matching that in this game. That's 3-1, and it was actually Ruben Castro and Video who carried the mantle in this game for us. They both did really, really well in this match. Ruben Castro actually played in the up front position and gave him a go there, and he really, really did well. But Video, he chops inside beautifully and finishes it well. Again, a really nice goal. the chopping side, absolutely leaving the defenders for dead. You'll see on the replay, it just completely opens up for him. But he's a player that's actually done quite well. He's played in the last couple of games. He's been one of our brighter players. Like I say, he's only 18, 19, so he really is going to be one for us in the future. So that made it 4-1, I believe, and then we get another chance here. And I just thought, because it was going so well, I'm going to hit this with Verdu, and really good strike there, decent save from the keeper. But like I say, we've really seemed to have turned a corner in this match after the struggles. And again, Verdu here, cutting inside, makes it 5, and at this point, it was like crazy. Like I say, we couldn't quite match the Derry of 5-0, but we do get the 5-1, and like I say, after the 3 games we'd drawn and really struggled, and it was nice to get this massive win under our belt. And perhaps again, like I said, against the Derry City, after the Derry City game, it didn't happen then, but maybe it will this time. Maybe we can carry this momentum into the next few games and really put a good run together, because that's what it's going to be all about. If you can get a good, even if it's just 5-6 wins in a row, that really puts you up there and can be there. You start forming a gap between sort of your top 5 to the mid-table pack, if you like. But I'll have a quick look at the league table here after the first few games. You'll see that does put us back into 6th place. That was nice after that win. We do have a game in hand over a couple of the teams as well, but I thought I'd show you the squad report as well. A couple of players have gone up. Adan's gone up by 1. The video, as I mentioned, had a good start. He's gone up by 1. Verdu went up by 1, which I was a bit shocked about, because he's 30. Castro going down by 1. Maybe we should have sold him in January, but he has been good up front for us, so I'm glad we kept him at the moment. He has been performing well. And then you'll see there's a couple of the reserve players that have gone up as well. There's that Mattia I was talking about, up to a 70. Reyes has gone up again by 1 as well. So it really wasn't looking like too bad at this point, and I was really happy with the way we were playing. And that's going to be the end of this episode. Like I say, hopefully we can continue this form into the next one. But thank you very much for watching, everybody. Really appreciate it if you could leave a like, rate and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next episode. Nidge out.